Welcome back to One-on-One with Gabriel Gonzalez. We are joined by Kira Rushtin from the Grand Junction Police Department. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for joining me today. So we wanted to invite you on because you are a dispatcher with the Grand Junction Police Department, and we wanted to really, inform the public on what your job duty is, because it's a very big piece of when the Grand Junction Police Department is dispatched to certain places. You're one of the reasons behind that. So tell us what your job function really is.
Yeah, so we dispatch for all fire, law, and EMS, the ambulances for the whole entire county, so over 20 agencies. We have call takers that are the ones that answer the phone, so we answer non-emergent and emergent lines. So you can either call 911 and we'll answer, or you can just call our non-emergent line and we'll still answer. Mm-hmm. And then we take down your information and we try and figure out exactly what you need, and if we can answer it, then that's fantastic. But if not, sometimes an officer is just needed for arguments or different civil issues or different things like that. And then we send it over to their dispatcher, and then the dispatcher assigns an officer to it. The officer will review the call, and then depending on how many officers are needed, they'll either contact you by phone or head out to the address. We have a lot of different functions that they do. Like I said, they can handle it by phone or at the address. Mm-hmm. And then once they get there, they usually run the people involved just to make sure everybody's good to go. Nobody needs any further assistance, isn't entered as missing or anything like that.
Yeah, and I understand y'all had a really big number of calls. Was it last year, over 300,000?
We did, yeah.
Talk to me about that.
So like I said, we answer for everybody. So for just the PD alone, for Grand Junction Police Department, we had 65 to 75,000 calls just last year alone. But in total, we had over 300,000.
Wow, that's incredible. Do you know how that kind of stacks up to previous years? Was that a little bit more, a little bit less? Is that right on par?
I'm not quite sure. I believe it's right on par, though.
Yeah, that's a lot of calls. And you said with the PD alone, it was 65 to 70?
Yeah, so just me alone, not including our whole entire team, we answer about 9 calls an hour per person.
Wow. Mm-hmm. How long do those calls normally last? Does it depend on
It just depends on the calls, yeah. Certain calls you need to stay on the line, like if there's an active fight or an argument going on, or certain medical calls you stay on the line for. Other calls, it's fairly quick. You can get it handled in 90 minutes to 2.
Yeah.
Correct. I'm sorry. 90 seconds.
90 seconds. Yeah, I was following along.
Sorry.
So I also understand recently we reported, I think over the past 2, maybe 3 months, y'all helped somebody at dispatch, multiple people helped deliver a baby over the phone.
Yeah.
Was that?
I was one of them.
You were one of them?
Yeah, it was fantastic.
How did that go?
Terrifying. So I have no children, and I was one of the only people in the comm center that didn't have a baby. And so I was trying to navigate how to coach the dad on how to help deliver the baby and how to coach mom that it was going to be okay. And I was a little panicked, and he was panicked, but I just had to be a little less panicked than he was. Thankfully, we were able to get help out there very quickly, but they had a beautiful little baby girl.
Oh,
so,
that's awesome.
yeah.
And you weren't the only one. There was a few.
Yeah.
So, y'all almost do everything, right?
Yeah.
Now, I know, what is the day-to-day life like for a dispatcher? Because I know y'all are hiring, so if somebody is interested in the day-to-day life, like you're going to explain, that's maybe a good fit.
Yeah, so like you said, we are hiring just at Grand Junction City website, gjcity.org. So usually in my life, I know everyone differs a little bit, but I wake up like an hour and a half before work starts. I make sure I have breakfast because your brain has to be ready to go as soon as you get there. We get there about 10 minutes early. We need to log into everything, get our headsets, our phones, all of that all ready to go. Then we go into a briefing and we talk about different things that happened and over the past couple days, whether you were there or you weren't there, just kind of updates, wrapping up the story. Then we get assigned a different console for the day. So you can be a call taker, you can be a dispatcher for the fire department or for the police department or the sheriff's office and the outlying agencies as well. Or you can work the data channel. So that's where we run people if you get pulled over, or like I said previously, if you have somebody come out for a fight or different things like that, they just run people, make sure everybody's good to go.
Yeah. What is some of the things, or maybe 1 or 2 things that you feel like you've learned or gained from this position? Because there's been times where we tell people, like this company's hiring, and it might not be a good fit for the person who's watching. What is something that you feel like you've learned, so maybe somebody who's watching maybe wants that same experience?
I am not a Grand Junction native. I grew up in California, so I moved here a couple months before I started my job, so over 2 years ago. And I love it. It's the best way ever to be able to help people and to get involved in the community. I know where the most random little side streets are because all I do is stare at a map all day. And I've just been able to learn so many things about Grand Junction and about Mesa County that I would have never known, like different little laws or different, okay, well, if you have a question about this, this is who you would call and this is why you need to call them and for what reason, which I don't think I ever in a million years would have known otherwise.
Yeah, well, I love that. I love, learning little things that you really, kind of never thought that you would know. I love that that's, a little piece of your job that you like. How do people apply again? Tell me one more time.
So you just go to the Grand Junction City website. So it's just G as in Grand, J as in Junction, city.org. And it's under employment, and we have dispatchers listed and a bunch of different job options as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Of course.
Y'all are a big part of, obviously how the whole PD works. So, of course, thank you for your work as well.
Yeah, of course, thanks.
You're welcome. We'll be right back.